All right. There we go. It's rainy. It's been raining this all night. They're calling it one of the worst storms in memory, or how they do this, right? It's the worst storm in 100 years. It's the worst storm in 1,000 years. They're saying we're going to get 12 feet of snow in probably under 2 days up in the Sierra Nevadas. They're calling it life-threatening snowfall. All the roads will be blocked. If you're up in the mountains, you'll be stuck in the mountains for days, if not week. And they were begging people not to travel, begging people to stock up on food just in case they can't get out, to get food for an extended period of time, and so on. Not so much here in the South Bay. We always seem to have a really nice time here. I don't know what it is. There's some mountains to the west of us that kind of catch these incoming storms. And we have mountains just to the east of us as well. So we're kind of in a little bowl. It makes it difficult for in the summer for pollutants, because the bowl that we're in gets kind of I don't know if they call it an inversion layer. It's probably not an inversion layer so much as, but it traps the pollution in the bowl. You have similar problems in places like Denver. So we have peculiar and persistent pollution problems in our little basin. But the basin aspect of it does protect us from the storms. The storms just tend to go over us like this because we're in sort of a sheltered spot. So that's the weather report. Elsewhere in California, they're being beat down, heavy beat down with amounts of precipitation and in particular snow. Snow is just another form of precipitation, right? I mean, rain and snow are the same thing. Hail, too. Hail, rain, and snow are all the same thing. And they're all made worse these days by global heating, right? And how does that happen? Because the oceans are hot. El Nino doesn't really help us in our cause here, but it'll go away. But when the El Nino even goes away, it doesn't matter. The oceans are still record hot, and the oceans, when they're hot, they give off extra moisture in the atmosphere because they're hot. That's what happens when you heat a body of water or a pan of water or a bathtub full of water, whatever. It evaporates, right? And you have all this moisture in the air. Take your shower, take your bathtub with the hot water. You got the mirror is all fogged up, right? Well, that's extra moisture in the atmosphere from the hot water that you just enjoyed. So that's physics. That's just physics. You heat the oceans, you heat the forests, you get more moisture in the atmosphere. The moisture has to go somewhere, okay? And then it rains out, or it hails out, or it snows out. It's the same thing. It's all physics. What's the little story they tell us in 5th grade? Evaporation, transportation, precipitation, right? We all learned that in the 5th grade. We all drew pictures of clouds with little blue dots that indicate the rain, right? It's physics. It's the physics, and it's the truth. It's physics, and it's the truth. Evaporation, transportation, precipitation. That's the truth. You can have your own opinions about where rain comes from. There's a rain god, or there's a rain dance, or you can have your opinion. You can even do those things, but that's not what happens. The truth is, you get evaporation over here, you get transportation, and then you get precipitation someplace else. That's the truth. Your feelings, my feelings on all that don't matter. So right now I'm really pissed. I'm doing this. What is it? 8 o'clock in the morning. Surprising myself, I'm doing this because I'm pissed. I'm really pissed. I'm as angry right now, right this second, as I've ever been on a YouTube video. I'm really, really angry right now. And the focus of my ire and my anger is not even really people. It's not really Simon Clark, whose video I just watched and just completely pissed me off. It's not Simon Clark. And it's not all the well-meaning progressives that are just like him, that all say the same thing about global heating and climate change. And I'm not really, I'm not even mad at the oil companies. I get it, guys. You had one job, and that was to make money selling a product that people actually really wanted, right? They really wanted the product. In some analysis, the oil companies are the heroes. I I fully admit that. I'm not really mad at the oil companies. And I'm not mad at George Socrates, who said something that completely pissed me off this morning. My wife was telling me, listen to what George Socrates said. I think that's his name, George. Ask her. I can't remember his name. It's too early. I haven't had my coffee. So, he's saying something and I just lose my shit. These people are so wrong. They're just so wrong. And they're so earnest. And they just know in their heart of hearts they're doing the right thing and they're saying the right thing and they're sacrificing their lives and they could be doing other things with their lives. I could be doing other things with my life right now, right here, right now. I could be fixing a cup of coffee, right? So I could be coherent, but I'm not doing that right now because I'm too pissed to make a pot of coffee. So I'm doing this instead. Everybody is doing the best they can here, okay? Including the motherfucking oil companies, all right? They're all doing the best they can for their set of requirements, their goals, their stated goals. They're all doing the best. Everyone is doing the best they can towards their stated goals. And they're all wrong. Which every curmudgeon, every old guy with a beard constantly says, right? All these people are wrong. They don't know nothing. They didn't read the right books. They didn't go to the right universities. I didn't go to any university and I know everything and blah, blah, blah. Okay. No, I am not suffering from Dunning-Kruger syndrome. Yes, I know what it is. I looked it up. They're wrong because they're wrong. They're wrong because they don't understand, or they choose not to understand, or they're in what I call soft denial. They're not denying global heating and they're not denying climate change. They're denying something else. And what they're denying is the truth. What they're denying is simply the truth. And I kind of understand that. That's why we have the Kubler-Ross trajectory of grief, right? Because denial is in there, okay? Denial is one of the steps you have to get through on your way to acceptance of the calamity. Denial, it's right there. It's very early. It's one of the first steps you have to get through. And then there's bargaining, and then there's anger, and then there's conspiracy theories, and then there's politics, and then there's voting for Donald Trump, and then there's finally acceptance. You accept it. My last two videos have been about acceptance, so I'm dealing with that right now, and I'm easily pissed off by people who are not as far along as I am. And I'm not saying that because I'm an old curmudgeon with a gray beard. I'm saying it because it's true. Because in addition to being an old guy with a gray beard, I'm a scientist. Does this count for nothing? I don't have to convince anybody, but I know the truth. Simon Clark, a nice man. I don't know who backs him. I don't know where he gets his funding. I don't know who else is on his staff, but he's the talking head for a YouTube channel. I think it's called Simon Clark. And he talks about pretty consistently about climate change. He doesn't talk about global heating. You say, well, that's the same thing. No, no, it isn't. No, it's not. And that is the crux of the problem. Okay. He talks about climate change and how we can tackle climate change. And I kind of always have just been like on the fence with this guy. He's very earnest. He's very forthright. He doesn't spout a lot of bullshit, except everything he says is frankly bullshit. I like the guy. I subscribe to his channel. I just recently unsubscribed to it because I'm kind of getting out of the bullshit sphere, and not because he's wrong about climate change. He's right. Except it's not climate change. It's global heating. Okay. So he's kind of wrong about climate change, but he's very earnest in his wrongness. He's very committed in his wrongness. He's very passionate about being wrong about something. A lot of progressives are. A lot of people yammering on about climate change. That's not your problem. I wish that was your problem. Oh, yeah, that would be great. Actually, I'd be really in favor of having some climate change problems right about now. Okay, because I'm a scientist and I'm not worried about climate change right now. Well, you should be because you're a scientist. No, I'm not. I've gone beyond. Okay, there is something beyond being worried about climate change. And when you're a scientist, you see beyond the current meme space, and did you know that climate change as a term, as a thing to focus on, as an obsession, that came to us from the Chamber of Commerce. Did you know that? That came to us basically from the oil companies. They wanted us to focus on climate change, and so we do. And one of the reasons we do is because it veers away from science. Meaning specifically, it veers away from numbers and charts and figures and formulae and master's degrees and PhDs and conferences and all this IPC stuff. Climate change veers away from that because the truth is physics and the truth is math and the truth is data, and that's all dry and not interesting. And it's much more compatible, digestible to talk about climate change. So we talk about climate change. Smooth move on somebody's part. Let's get them talking about rain. Let's get them talking about weather. Let's get them talking about how hot it's going to be today. And then when we talk about, well, here we are globally, 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial baseline temperature. The Earth average temperature is 1.5 degrees above baseline temperature. And since we're talking about climate change and talking about climate, we're talking about heat, then people who look at the thermometer on their back porch and say 1.5 degrees C above what it was an hour ago. Really? I'm supposed to be worried about that? You see what happened? You see what happened? By talking about climate change, it becomes a talk about the weather. That's why they did it. That's why they insisted. And that's why everybody wants to talk about it, because everyone talks about the weather all the fucking time. There's this obsession with weather. And climate is just weather, right? And so they won. They won that battle. Now, here I am, a scientist. I'm trying to tell you, no, wrong. What's killing you is physics. Not how you feel about the weather. Physics is going to murder you. And, oh, by the way, since all you want to do is talk about the weather, it's going to murder all of you. Yes, I'm a doomer. You're fucked. You're basically fucked. What can I say? You're over here looking at the weather and the thermometer and the 1.5 degrees above baseline, whatever that gobbledygook is even supposed to mean to the average chimp. And physics over here on the other side, crawling down your back. So yeah, I'm a little hot about Simon Clark. He's a nice guy. He's really smart for a chimp. He clearly doesn't get it. And maybe, wow, maybe he is funded by the Chamber of Commerce. Maybe he is out there saying, man, climate change is the thing. Climate change, that's going to, 1.5 degrees above in pre-industrial baseline temperature. This is going to be a real big deal. And it's like he's talking about all this stuff and how we can, okay, here's what really chaps my ass, all right? And all the progressives do this. And everybody does this. I feel like the one person who can see the meteor coming. I've got the telescope on the meteor. I'm saying there's a meteor coming. And they're all running around wanting to legislate the meteor away. Okay? No, that's not how you deal with shit. You don't pass policies. I'm sorry, Simon. We don't need more policies, for fuck's sake. We don't need more policies. Hey, you even passed progressives, just like Simon Clark, but, now they'd be 60 years older, passed regulations on tobacco consumption. Specifically, they got rid of ads for tobacco, and they got rid of product placements in, movies and TV for tobacco, and they passed laws making it illegal for minors to consume tobacco. Did any of that stuff influence? I'll just say influence. Did any of that influence tobacco consumption in America or in the world? No. Didn't influence it at all. Minors can get tobacco anytime they want. And why is it that minors can get tobacco anytime they want? And why is it that tobacco is being used everywhere? And you see people everywhere. Of course, now they're outside smoking on the sidewalk, but in some ways that's an ad for tobacco, right? People out on the sidewalk smoking tobacco. And you're thinking, oh yeah, tobacco, I'd like to have a cigarette. You're seeing people out on the street smoking tobacco. This is why we have outside dining at restaurants, so people can smoke tobacco outside on the sidewalk, eating their omelet. And why is it that the teens are still getting the tobacco? And why is it that tobacco is still smoked all over the world? And why is it that tobacco companies have never been more popular? And why is it that now we vape tobacco directly, just the nicotine directly in a fluid, just vape it right in, right? No plant involved at all, just the nicotine right in a vapor, inhale this stuff. And why is all this? Because we passed laws regulating tobacco. And one of the Naomi's, I can't remember, Naomi Oreskes or Naomi Klein, wrote this book about the merchants of doubt and how they degraded the science of anti-tobacco, and they got in the way of regulations, and we got the regulations anyway. Yay us! And merchants of doubt, and the same people who worked for the tobacco company is now working for the oil companies to sow doubt on the ultimate cause of climate change. I'll just say it because everyone else is saying it, right? And also, the merchants of doubt invented the word climate change. They invented that. So they invented the whole thing. They invented the entire discussion. They tell us what to think about the thing they're telling us what to think about. They're making us think about the weather, climate change. People debate, what is climate change? What is climate? Let's talk about the weather. This is bullshit. This is absolute raging insanity. Barking madness. This is barking madness. Because that was never your problem. That was never, not once, in no paper, in no scientific paper that's ever been published, is that your problem. Your problem is not the weather. I mean, that's maybe what's going to kill you in the proximate sense, in the immediate sense that it was a tornado tore down your house and killed you and your family, or it was a flood, or it was a storm surge, or it was a whatever it was. And the weather, yeah, probably the weather or the drought or the whatever is probably the immediate thing, the actual thing that you're struggling with your life, and suddenly your life ends. And why'd your life end? Well, someone's going to write on your obituary, well, their life ended because of the weather. A tree fell in a windstorm, or their car got swept away in a flood, and they got a disease from the weather, and a new parasite showed up in the food, a new parasite showed up in the swamps because of the weather, because things got hot and all these things went bad. I mean, that was all the weather. Here is in your obituary, you died of weather. Haha. And your neighbor died of weather, and your whole family died of weather, and your dog died of weather, and your whole community died of weather. Okay. And at some point you begin to realize this is kind of obscene. What, everyone's dying of weather? Really? Seriously? Well, no, they're not dying of weather. Of course, we know what it is. It's climate change. So they're dying of climate change? Well, what is that? Well, it's the sum total of all your weather. Well, now you've come full circle. So we really are dying due to weather. We're doomed because of weather. Really, really. That's what we're going to do? We're doomed because of weather. Seriously. No, we're not doomed because of weather. We're doomed because of fucking physics, okay? The planet is heating. It's going to continue to heat. It will heat to a point where we can't live here because it'll heat until it stops. And when will it stop? Well, it'll stop when the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere stops increasing. When it stops increasing, then maybe, we really don't know. We're kind of hoping, praying that when the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere stops increasing, that the heating will also stop. Debatable. Actually debatable. According to science. Not according to me. Debatable according to science. I could explain it, but I don't feel like it because I'm pissed, okay? I'm tired. I haven't had my coffee. I can't think. I'm pissed. And why is the carbon dioxide increasing in the atmosphere? Because we're burning fossil fuels. That's why. Not because of something else. I mean, land use, yeah, maybe to some extent. But we started cutting down all the forests on the planet like 2,000 years ago. The big jump in CO2 in the atmosphere, the big jump, and it's been going up for a long time, yes, because of land use problems. But the big jump in CO2 was in the last 20 years. And hey, shall I point this out? That we have had heavily regulated forest usage for 100 years, right? Teddy Roosevelt created the national park system in the United States. Teddy Roosevelt. What was he, like the 38th president or the 35th president? I mean, this is like ancient history in the US, right? Halfway through our entire history, we started preserving the forests. Now, of course, they still cut them down and the regulations are ignored, but that's my point. That's my point, right? We passed all these rules, passed all these regulations. We're going to save the forest. We're going to keep the trees from being cut down. We did all this stuff, and yet CO2 emissions into the atmosphere continue and increase. So you thought you were going to save the national forest by passing laws? Really? You thought that? Well, you didn't. Oh, and by the way, should I point this out? Simon Clark, you're going to pass all these regulations. Somehow, with a Republican and MAGA dominated Congress, and soon the 47th president will be, Adolf Trump. You're going to now with all this going on, now you're going to pass regulations against, creating additional climate change. Really? You're going to do that? No, you're not going to do that. No. And it didn't work with tobacco, and it didn't work with gun violence in schools, and it didn't work with cars running people over in the street. You can put up all the speed signs you want. You can put up all the penalties you want for running a stop sign. People still get run over in intersections every day. Mothers with their babies in strollers get run over in intersections every single fucking day by people in cars, because you can't regulate. You can't regulate people to do the right thing. You just can't. It's like this. Can I do an analogy? Is it an analogy? I don't know. Whatever it is. I haven't had my coffee. I'm tired. A community decides to build a bridge across a canyon to get to the other side, where there's more people living. And they build the bridge across the canyon, and they roll out the mayor in the inaugural Cadillac convertible, and with Miss County USA, and they go out in the middle of the bridge, and the bridge collapses and kills them all in the bottom of the canyon. And say, wow, that didn't work. So let's try this, do this a little differently. So they're going to build a bridge again. But this time they pass a law that bridges can't collapse. Pass a law, bridges can't collapse. Different mayor, different Cadillac convertible, goes across the bridge, halfway across the bridge, collapses down to the canyon, and everyone dies. Why does this keep happening? So they bring in a scientist, right? Someone like me, earnest, helpful, want to help you understand why the bridge is collapsing. So bring in a scientist who's maybe not really, doesn't really understand politics, doesn't really understand people. Okay. The scientist is maybe a bit nerdy, kind of an introvert, kind of like me, right? Doesn't really understand people. And maybe even the scientist is a scientist because the scientist doesn't give a fuck about people. The scientist cares about nature and the world and physics and mathematics and takes delight in these things and doesn't give a fuck about people. So the people about whom the scientist probably on some subliminal level doesn't really give a fuck about, brings the scientist in and asks, okay, why does our bridges keep falling down? And he looks at the bridges and says, oh yeah, that's gravity. Gravity did that to you. Gravity's pulling your bridges down. And maybe the bridge by itself, when it's being built, doesn't fall down. And you're smart enough to build a bridge that doesn't fall down while you're building it. Okay. But as soon as you put any weight on it, like the mayor in a Cadillac convertible with Miss America going across the bridge, well, then the bridge falls down under the influence of gravity. Okay, I said my piece. So now you know what to do, right? So the scientist leaves, thinks he's done a great job. But the scientist didn't really understand people. And the scientist leaves the politicians behind, and the scientist leaves the room, and the politicians say, okay, now we know what to do. We're going to build a bridge, and we're going to pass regulations that nullify gravity in the canyon. Great. All right, let's do this. So they build the bridge, they pass legislation, they vote on it, passes unanimously. Doesn't cost them anything, of course. They just legislate gravity out of existence. And so a third Cadillac convertible with yet another mayor and yet another pageant winner. No, except the girls get it. Okay, the girls get it. And the girls are saying, I am not getting that fucking car and going across that fucking bridge. I'm just not going to do it. So it's just the fat ass mayor who's dumb as a chimp gets in the fucking car with his stupid fucking driver, and they drive out onto the bridge, and they're waving the American flag, and the bridge fucking collapses. They all go down to the bottom of the fucking canyon. They're all dead. And the girl who would have been in the car with him is like, I'm out. I take off my sash. I am not missing anything. You people are stupid. You're a bunch of morons. I'm out of here. Don't ask me about the bridge. I'm gone. Okay. And she becomes a bitter waitress who serves people coffee and tells them about how stupid people are. Right. That's the story. I just wrote a movie. I just did the script for a movie. This would be a fucking amazing movie. Someone should make this YouTube short. I want to watch this YouTube short. I'm going to watch it. over and over on loop, and I'm going to laugh my ass off. So what's the actual solution to the bridge? What's the actual solution to the bridge? Well, maybe bring in a different kind of scientist who isn't so introverted and they understand how people are. And maybe they give a fuck about people, instead of thinking they're just a bunch of stupid chimps, which they are. And so you bring in a different type of scientist. And this guy says, okay, I know what we did wrong. Or maybe bring in the same guy. Maybe he's learned his lesson. Maybe he wants to make this right. It wouldn't be me because I'd be laughing my ass off, right? So see, now I feel better. I was so mad a minute ago, I couldn't even think straight. Now I feel better. Okay, so you bring in the same guy. He's like, okay, I see my mistake here. I see my mistake. I told you that gravity was the problem. And it is. I mean, but it's not a problem. Okay, I misstated it. Your problem is not gravity. Gravity is your reality. Okay. Do you see the difference? When you say something's a problem, at least to the progressive, technological savvy, person's mindset. When you say there's a problem, then they immediately think because this is a personality flaw on their part. Solution. There's a problem. Oh, okay. Let's get together a committee. Let's make it diverse. All the voices, all the everybody, and we'll put the problem to the committee, and we'll poll the people, and we'll bring in experts, and we'll have the problem. Okay, what's the solution? We'll listen to all the voices, and we'll come up with the best solution to the problem. Well, the problem is that gravity is not a problem, and you can't poll the LGBTQ plus community and get the perfect solution because gravity is not a problem. Gravity is a fact. Gravity is a fact. Okay. So you bring the same scientist in and he said, okay, you told us gravity was a problem. That's why our bridges are falling down. So we legislated gravity, but it turns out that doesn't work. Why? Well, because gravity is not really a problem. Gravity is a fact. And here's your problem. And this is something you can fix. You can't fix gravity, but here's your problem. You can fix this. Bring in a structural engineer who understands fucking gravity, okay? Who just knows that gravity is a fucking thing, and they're just going to say, okay, we're going to build a bridge. Okay, here's gravity as one vector. Here's the span over here, and here's the weight you're going to put in the middle, and we're going to do all this analysis, and we're going to have a structural engineer look at this, and the structural engineer will tell you how to build your bridge to take into account the fact of gravity. So now you talk to your structural engineer. Oh, this time you pay money. Oh, yeah. Now you pay. Okay. Finally, you open your wallet and you pay the man who understands gravity, right? You pay the man who understands gravity. And then what you do is you build a bridge. You build a bridge and you put the fat ass mayor in a fat ass convertible and he goes across the bridge and the girl is like, she's already a waitress and she's bitter and she's serving coffee and regaling people for being stupid. The mayor goes out there and of course he's shaking in his boots, right? He's doing this and he's like, and the scientist is right there in the convertible with him, right? The engineer is right there in the convertible with him. And the engineer's like, yep, go right out across that bridge, mayor. You're going to be fine. You're going to be grand. And the mayor goes out there and he crosses the bridge in the convertible. And he gets out the middle and he crosses the middle. He's crossing the bridge in the convertible and the people on the other side are cheering and the people on the other side are cheering and they're waving the flag. And the engineer is just sitting in the back of the convertible saying, yep, that's right. That's right. And who gets the big congratulations and the slap on the back and who gets to run for president and whatever, that it's the mayor, right? What about the engineer? Well, he just took the money. Thank you, biatch. And he walks away. He's got the money. He doesn't need to be mayor. He doesn't need to be president. He doesn't need to be in the front seat of the convertible. He doesn't need to have the dancing girls hanging off of his shoulder. Okay. He just give me the money. Thanks. The non-stupid chimp will take the money. Thank you very much. And that's our problem with climate change. I have to say it. I hate it. Okay. That's our problem. That's the problem. People like Simon Clark. I like the guy. He's probably a nice guy. Okay. I'm not picking on you, Simon. You just came across my bow this morning and pissed me off. You're not the only one doing it. There's a lot of scientists who are doing the same thing, by the way. I could name names. Actually, I can't because I haven't had a fucking cup of coffee, okay? There are other people who should know better. There you go, right there. Who should know better, who aren't doing much better than Simon Clark. It pisses me off. And that's why, oh, by the way, that's why I come out of all this, I say, oh yeah, we're doomed. Because of the people who think that we're just going to regulate our way out of this. You're not. You're not going to pass the law that nullifies the effects of gravity. And you're also not going to pass a law or a regulation or create a department or whatever to regulate yourself out of climate change or global heating for that matter. Because those aren't problems. They're not problems. They do not respond to legislation. And when I say it that way, you're like, well, of course it doesn't respond to legislation, but that's all we have. Then you got nothing. Okay, you got nothing, bitch. You got nothing. If that's all you got is legislation, then you got nothing. You're doomed. And that's why I say you're doomed. You are doomed. Everything you know, everything you see, everything you touch, everything you eat, everything you drink, every thought you've ever had, everyone you've ever known, all your parents, all your grandparents, everything, everybody, all of it, civilization, history, writing, music, hip hop, all of it is doomed. It's just doomed. You're done. Because you actually think, what, how, where did I go wrong? Where have my people gone wrong? That you actually think, stupid motherfuckers, you think you're going to legislate gravity out of existence. Really? Seriously? Oh, well, well, then you get in that convertible and you go right across that bridge. I'm going to stay over here on this other side with the waitress who's bitter, serving coffee. But she and we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to say, these are stupid motherfuckers. She's going to say, yeah, you're right. They are. I can't believe I almost got in that convertible and went across that bridge with that fat son of a bitch. And we're going to lean out the front door of the coffee shop. We're going to watch you drive across that bridge one more time, waving the American flag. Down you go. And she's like, okay, you want a refill? Yes, thank you. And what up with the ham and eggs? Are they any good? Should I stay for that? I'll take another cup of coffee, though. And she's laughing her ass off. I'm sitting in there drinking that coffee, eating the really great ham and eggs, laughing my ass off. You chimps just keep doing the same stupid, retarded shit. That's why I became a cat, okay? George Socrates. I think it's George. Maybe it's John. Ask my wife. Socrates said something. I was stomping around the house raging at Simon Clark, the hapless victim of my rage. Okay. I'm not going to do a reaction video because it requires technology and effort. Fuck it. I don't care. Okay. But I'll tell you which video set me off. Okay. Simon Clark, nice guy. You would like him. YouTube video. Climate deniers don't deny climate change anymore. And he's really capping on the climate change denier. So this is old school denial, right? It's the Chinese. It's a hoax. It's not real. It's a good thing. It's not us. It's not humans. It's something else. It's volcanoes or unicorn farts or whatever it is, right? So he's capping on the deniers, but he also, to my chagrin, swept up all the rest of us doomers. Okay, but I'm not a doomer. I mean, I talk about it and I phrase it that way. And I say, yeah, you're doomed. And I guess I'm a doomer as a result. So, okay, fine. I guess I'll wear that. But I'm not a doomer. I'm not just some hapless graybeard curmudgeon who hates humanity and get you kids get off my lawn. Okay. I'm not a doomer. I'm a scientist who happens to think that you are all doomed. Now, that's not the same thing. These shouldn't be. Maybe it's the same thing to you. Maybe it's the same thing to Simon Clark. But here's a scientist who's convinced that you're all doomed and that your civilization is doomed and you're doomed. You personally are doomed and I am doomed and we're all doomed, right? Everything we know is dependent on fossil fuels. And so we're doomed. He thinks I say that because, I don't believe that alternative energy will save us. Or I don't believe that legislation will save us. Or I don't believe that policies at the UN or UN treaties will save us. Well, no, actually, I do believe that none of those things will save you, but that doesn't make me a doomer. Just because those things didn't save you from anything else doesn't make me a doomer. And just because those things won't save you now doesn't make me a doomer. What makes me a doomer is that I'm right. You're doomed. You're finished. Because the only way out of this is to stop burning fossil fuels. And either you can voluntarily stop burning fossil fuels and maybe, possibly, still undetermined, save yourself from global heating. There, I finally slipped it in, which is physics caused by physical processes that you're fucking with by emitting CO2 into the atmosphere. Okay. Physics. You might be able to save yourself from some physics by doing physics differently and not emitting CO2 into the atmosphere. Maybe you save yourself. Or you can just wait and make no change at all. You just don't pull the lever on the trolley and you just don't go to the sidetrack and you just go ahead partying, on the Titanic, and it's going to be great. And then, of course, you hit the iceberg. When the iceberg, in this case, is the planet becomes uninhabitable. Or your global industrialized civilization collapses under all the harms caused by, wait for it, global heating. So I don't care. You can go straight, you can go right, you can go left. Doesn't matter to me because physics is at the end of the track. Anywhere you go, physics is at the end of the track waiting for you. All right? So no, Simon Clark. It's not because we don't pass the right legislation makes me a doomer. It's not because I'm worried that alternative energy won't save us. It's because none of those things will work. I'm a doomer because you're doomed. And why are you doomed? Because gravity works. Or the equivalent in this case, global heating is a thing. And you're talking about everything else except the thing. And until you get enough engineers and scientists in you to straighten you out, explain to you what the thing is really, then you're going to keep building bridges to nowhere and legislating gravity out of existence and legislating falling bridges out of existence and legislating fat people in convertibles out of existence. You're just going to keep doing all this stuff because you're dumb. And until you bring the engineers and the scientists and the physicists in, you're going to stay dumb. And you're going to do dumb things. And you're going to end up taking yourself and eventually all of us down into the canyon on your stupid bridge. That's a dumb bridge because you're dummies. You need to bring people in who understand what the fuck is going on in your planet. And what's happening to your planet is it's heating up. And it's doing this in a catastrophic fashion. And it's doing that because of excess CO2 emissions into the atmosphere, which enhance the greenhouse effect. The CO2 emissions are coming from the human consumption of fossil fuels, which generate CO2 and water. And the fossil fuels are coming from the ground. And the only solution to all of this is not regulations. You don't regulate the greenhouse effect out of existence. You don't regulate CO2 as a heat-trapping gas out of existence. And you don't regulate climate change. You don't regulate heat waves. You don't regulate supply chain crises. You don't regulate food insecurity. You can't, you could try. I suppose you actually could. Maybe you can pass regulations that distribute the food more equitably. Fine. That doesn't save you from global heating. You're just nibbling at the edges. Using my current example, it doesn't matter that you pass regulations that the mayor, when you elect the mayor, can't weigh more than 180 pounds. The extra 50 pounds isn't what brought the bridge down. And you could even say, yeah, and we have to regulate that when the mayor crosses the bridge in a convertible, it's actually got helium balloons lifting it off the bridge. Okay, something to make the car lighter. Well, actually, the only reason you would even pass that legislation is because someone explained to you the role of gravity. But everything else you've done is just nibbling at the edges. You never understood. You never comprehended it. Simon Clark, I'm sorry, you're dumb. You're a dummy. You don't understand what's happening to us, and you're not addressing it. You're in soft denial. You're a nice guy, but you're dumb. Or you're not a nice guy, and you're doing this on purpose. So fuck you. Or I'm assuming you're a nice guy. You're just dumb. George Socrates. My wife, I guess she knew I was angry, or she was just reading her news feed, and she said, George Socrates said that what's really destroying us, what's really got us on the wrong track, is that we prefer entertainment over the truth. And that if we could just convince people that they need to stop being so distracted and just go ahead and look at the truth with clear eyes, then we'll be able to tackle these problems. Meaning, we won't necessarily elect to the presidency climate change deniers. And maybe when people understand the truth, they'll tell their Congress people to focus on this and pass more legislation. Okay. The problem is we just don't have a relationship with the truth. And that pisses me off. Now, for one thing, you need to understand people's relationship with the truth is so bad that they don't even agree on what the word truth means. What is the saying? You can have your own opinion, but you can't have your own facts. That does not contain the word truth. What are facts? Facts are data. Facts are science. How do we find facts? We analyze the world around us. We take measurements. Okay. Facts are instrumental. Facts are instrumental. And yes, it's true. You can have your own opinion, but you cannot have your own facts. Truth never enters into it. People believe all kinds of things to be true. They think there's a daddy in the sky who's going to bless them and make their lives wonderful and then bring them into heaven because they went to the right church and didn't go to the wrong church and didn't have the wrong skin color and all these other kind of things. That's their truth. No, that's an opinion. You have no instrumental facts for any of that. Oh, but I feel. I don't care about your feelings. So George Socrates is, until we come to have a relationship with the truth and give up on entertainment, we won't know what to do. And that's wrong. That's wrong. That's like saying we have to convert everyone to Catholicism or everyone to Islam before we can move forward. See, George, you're wrong. You're stupid to even say something like that. What is your fucking problem, my man? Are you retarded? Did someone drop you on your head? Why would you say that the dichotomy that we have to solve somehow through reason or probing our deepest inner feelings or consulting with our neighbors and consulting with our faith community is just to make a distinction between entertainment and truth and veer from entertainment being the devil's wickedness and veering only towards the truth? Which one, George? Which truth should we be veering towards? Because everybody has one. Truth, as used by people, is no different than opinion. And that's why he used that. He used the word truth. He didn't say we must veer away from entertainment and distraction and we must pay more attention to science. He didn't say that, did he? He didn't say that. No. Sorry, George. Not impressed. I am not impressed. Okay? Our problem is not we have a crappy relationship with the truth. The problem is truth. Okay? Donald Trump, the biggest troll who exists in our current generation. Donald Trump, of all the morons, of all the inveterate orange Jesus, Cheeto finger assholes, named his personal private social media company Truth Social. George, why? Why, George? Why did you do it? Why did you say that our relationship is between, we have to set aside entertainment and choose the truth? Why, George? Why did you say that? You stupid chimpanzee. You fucking moron. God damn it. Shut up. Just shut up, George. Just shut up. Just shut the fuck up. Don't want to hear it. if that's the best you can do, we must define our relationship, not with entertainment, because Donald Trump is just entertainment and MAGA is just entertainment. We must redefine our relationship with the truth. What, we go on Truth Social and figure out the truth now? Really? That's what we're going to do. George Sacralides. We're all going to go. We're all going to subscribe to Truth Social and get the truth from who? Donald Trump. That's what you just did. You just set us up for that kind of bullshit. Fuck me, Margaret. George, do me a favor. Do me a big favor. Buddy, dude, my pal. Shut up. Okay, just shut up. What is the challenge here, George? Learn something. Pay attention, my dude. Okay. Talking to you, okay? Talking to you. Listen to me. We don't need more truth. Please, please, no more truth. I can't take any more truth this morning. Okay? I'm losing my fucking mind here, okay? I can't take any more truth. We need data. We need science. We need a commitment to reality. We need a commitment to facts. And if you don't like facts because you don't trust the fact-making process, well, go fuck yourself. That's all we've got. All we've got is data. Everything we have is instrumental. You can go check the thermometers. You can go check the computers. You can go check the satellites, whatever. It's all there. Hell, we check it ourselves all the goddamn time, and we'll even publish the results. Here's the tests we run, and here's the results we got, and we think it's probably fine. And if it's ever not fine, we'll fix it, and we'll let you know we fixed it. And they do that too, by the way. And that's instruments. That's what we got. We got instruments. What else we got? Opinions? Oh, yeah. Forget that. How about truth? We'll have the truth. No, please don't. Don't go to the truth. No. Anything but the truth. My God. Then we'll have Orange Jesus, and we'll have Jesus, and we'll have Muhammad, and we'll have all this other shit. And no truth, please. Please. No. Anything but that. I'll even settle for your opinion, because your opinion might actually be derived from some observations you've made. No truth, please. I can't take any more truth this morning. Engineers, physicists, scientists. You need these people at the top. We don't want to be at the top. I don't want to be at the top. I don't even want to talk to people that are at the top. They're a bunch of chimpanzees. And a lot of them are dangerous. A lot of them are just dangerous Russian-fed trolls. Okay, I don't even want to be around these people. Don't even put me in the same room with these people. 5 minutes, I'm out. 5 seconds, I'm out. As soon as they open their mouth and start saying their usual trollish bullshit, okay, I'm out. And I know not to even go there. I don't want to deal with these people. They are not helping. They are in the way. They do not represent progress. They do not represent anything. They represent themselves. And I don't want to deal with them. Get me out of the room. Get me out of here. I don't want to be part of this conversation. Now, who do we need at the top? Oh, well, the people that don't get invited to the party, of course, because we don't give a shit about your politics. Just don't care. It's in the way all the time. People are stupid. You're passing laws nullifying gravity. What the what? What the what? No, keep me away from these people. They're embarrassing. They're dumb. You're passing legislation saying that teenagers can't smoke. Really? You did that? That's a thing? You actually did that? Get me out of here. Can I not be human? Fine. I'll just be a cat. No, I can't deal with it anymore. Make me some kind of an animal. No. I'm out. And Simon Clark is a really nice guy. He's a human. And George Sacralides is probably a nice guy, also human. And they're fucking up. We need to have a relationship not with truth and not with opinion. We need to have a relationship with facts. Now, there was just a movie came out called Don't Look Up. People don't understand that movie. Well, since it came out of the human imagination, I guess the movie can have many meanings. Everyone has their opinion, yay. What the movie was about was there was a fact. There was a fact. And the first 15 minutes of the movie is this dry, academic, nerdy conversation about the fact. And these people, they only like each other. And they talk about facts with each other and they get real excited and they order a pizza and they sit around, they do calculations on calculators with pencils and paper and slide rules. And, and they're doing all this nerdy shit. They're just nerds. They're just, no one likes them. They don't have dates. They don't go to parties. They're just sitting around, calculating crap. Who cares what's going on out in the cosmos and meteors and comets? Don't you people have a life? What's your problem? And I'm sitting there watching this movie and I'm saying, oh, God damn it. Yeah, that's how it feels. That's how it is. I'm those people. I'm sitting around eating a cheap pizza, doing calculations to determine if the earth is doomed or not. That's me. That's me. I'm there. I'm at that table. I'm one of those people. And what happens in that movie? What happens in that movie? Did you watch that movie? Don't Look Up. You should go watch that movie. You should go watch that movie for the first 15, 20 minutes. Because what happens in that movie? They're doing the calculations and they're running the computer programs and they're looking at the printouts and they've got the whiteboard and they've got the chart and they're doing their slide rule calculations and they're eating sheet pizza. And what happens? There's an oh shit moment. Wait, why does I remember when it is. Professor, why does the number go to 0? He's at the whiteboard. He's got his little marker. He's whiteboard marker. He's doing the calculation. No, someone else is doing the calculations. He's writing them down. Okay, kids, it's like, okay, it gets to the bottom and there's a 0. He goes like this. And that's what I tell my wife. That's the oh shit moment. I'm telling my wife, you see what just happened? She's just being entertained by the movie. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in that room. And he just wrote a 0. And he says, go, read those numbers back to me again. 0. And that's his oh shit moment. And right there, he's a doomer. He's not a doomer because he doesn't trust people. He's not a doomer because he can't pass the right legislation. He's not a doomer because he's sad or depressed or couldn't get a date or the pizza was really that shitty. He's not a doomer for those reasons, okay? No, my dude. He's not a doomer for those reasons. He's a doomer because of the numbers. He had his oh shit moment. And he sends the young people home because they're not old enough to understand that oh shit moment. They're a bit naive. They're kind of kids, okay? They're college kids, as we call them. They're adults, but they're college kids. And not only that, but they have a leader in the room. The leader in the room is right there, the professor, right? And he's leading them into this moment. And he gets to the oh shit moment. And that's where he becomes human. That's where he becomes more of a human, concerned for them and their feelings than he is a scientist. To be a scientist, you're kind of a son of a bitch. You kind of don't care what people think. And you go down the numbers and they're writing the numbers down. You get to the 0 and the kids say, Professor, what does 0 mean? And in the movie, because of dramatic tension, he fails. He says, okay, kids, let's go home for tonight. I want to work on these calculations at home and we'll work on this some more. And I think you've had a good lesson tonight and, lesson's over. It's getting late and the pizza was really shitty. So let's go home. And he and one other scientist, there's just 2 of them. There may be more later on in the movie, but for that moment, okay, they're looking at each other and they are old enough and they are independently minded enough to take the data at face value. And they say they have the oh shit moment. And throughout most of the movie, certainly the initial part of it, there's 2 people on Earth who know that meteor is going to hit the Earth and destroy all life. They even talk about it in those terms. And they try to go on social media and they try to go on mainstream media and they try to talk to the president. They try to talk to the academics and they're trying to say, we're doomed. Now, I take no solace from this, that I am the lone John Baptist in the wilderness and I'm saying we're all doomed and Christ is coming and no one believes me and I'm really salty about that. No, that's not how this is working, okay? I'm not just an old graybeard curmudgeon who wants the kids to stay off his lawn. That's not me. I'm not that. I'm that scientist, okay? I'm that scientist and I'm doing the numbers. And I come down to a number that says, oh yeah, you're fucked, basically. Okay. And that's why I'm alone here on YouTube. That's why I'm the only guy saying these things. I have seen reality. I've seen it. And when I talk about reality, or when I talk about the truth, when I say I've seen the truth, I'm talking about reality. Okay. For me, the truth is instrumental. It's not how many angels can dance off the head of a pin. It's not which brand of Islam is the best one. It's not which brand of bullshit politics is the best one. What kind of legislation should be passed? How many votes do we need? Who do we have to throw under the bus to get this legislation passed? Okay, that's some people's truth. Political realities, right? Economic realities. My truth, which I shouldn't use that word because it's just so loaded and tainted, right? It's so useless anymore. The truth is just a useless idea. I could go to Truth Social to get the truth, right? From Donald Trump, straight from the lips, straight from God through Donald Trump to me through Truth Social. That's how people do it. People are actually doing that. Okay. I can't do that. So I have to stick with reality. And reality is, well, in the movie, Don't Look Up, the reality is there's a meteor coming. And you can have your opinion on that. You can think that's not true. You can have an alternative true opposing that. But that shit's happening. That's going down. That's reality. That's what's coming for you as a meteor. Meteor's coming, and 2 people on Earth know that, and the rest of the Earth is running around being entertained. So in that regards, George Socrates was correct. We need to have a better relationship with the truth. But my dude, it's not. Don't use that word, okay? It's not the truth. Don't be stupid, because you're just going to direct people to Donald Trump's Truth Social hellhole, okay? We need to start thinking very clearly about this. And what you need to understand is that our reality is instrumental. We know what's happening. The equivalent of the meteor is coming. In fact, I'll tell you right up front, it's here. Like the Titanic, didn't have a problem until it hit the iceberg. We've hit the iceberg. This is our post-iceberg moment. You can't know that. Oh, yes, I can. And I'm not the only one saying it. And the other people saying it are scientists. And they got the data, they got the analysis, they've got the satellite, they got the temperatures, they got the everything, they've got the paleo data, they got the models. You hate models. Nevertheless, we know. We have seen the data. We have seen the facts. We understand that gravity will bring the bridge down if you roll that car out on there. We understand that. It's going to come down. Oh, look, see, it fell down. Stupid assholes. You need to hire a structural engineer. And you need to get politics out of this. You need to get policy out of this. Sorry, Simon Clark. You need to get the policy the hell out of this. Out. No more policy. You want to talk policy? Fuck off. Not talking policy. What do we have to do? Well, then what can we do, Mr. Cougar W? What can we possibly do? What does the cat recommend? Well, the cat recommends you stop fucking around. Your problem is not climate change, and your problem is not equity, and your problem is not floating all the boats, and your problem is not justice. Your problem is not climate change. Your problem is global heating. And the planet is heating because we are enhancing the greenhouse effect. And the greenhouse effect is caused by greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxides. And we are releasing those into the atmosphere in copious quantities. Some 30 billion tons of CO2 annually? 30 billion tons? Can you even point to anything that weighs 30 billion tons? Mount Everest, the entire Himalayan mountains probably don't weigh 30 billion tons. 30 billion tons is a big fucking number. And you're doing that annually by burning fossil fuels, annually releasing 30 billion tons of CO2 in the atmosphere annually. Oh my God. How can that not seem significant to you? Well, it's a number. I don't care about numbers. Well, you better start fucking care about numbers, you chimp. Scientists, philosophers, started naming things with scientific names. Canis domesticus, that's the dog. Felis domesticus, that's the cat. And they finally got around to naming us. And they named us Homo sapiens. It means it's Latin, translates to, the thinking one, the wise one, however you want to translate it. The wise one, the thinking one. Well, of course they would call us that because that's what they want to be. There are these bunch of old guys, they've got they're running empires all over the planet. They're rich. They got slaves picking cotton for them. And it's time to name humans, God's greatest creation. We are the greatest creation on God's earth. We're all thumping our Bibles. It says right here, Genesis, greatest creation, dominion over nature. And we're the top. We're the bee's knees. And we have to name humans. We're going to call them Homo sapiens, the wise ones. Okay. Really? So are we sticking to that? Can we change that? We're sticking with that? Oh, God damn it. We need to change that. We need to call it something else. And don't look up. There was 2 people on the entire planet who understood what was going on. And then it happened and everyone died. Except the moron. Did you notice that? Did you notice how the clown didn't die? What is that supposed to tell us? Why couldn't the 2 scientists not die? No, the scientists all died. And they were having a nice meal together and they knew they were going to die. This is spoilers. I'm sorry. You really need to go watch the movie, but it doesn't matter. You need to know this. Go watch the movie anyway. It's a great movie. Watch it for the first 15 minutes. Okay. That's me. Now you know my life. This is my life. Go watch the first 15 minutes of the movie. And the scientists are all, they're all together. And they said, we did our best. And they're holding hands and they're having a nice meal and they're talking about nice things. And they all know they're going to die. They know it. It's a fact. They're all going to die. They've all come together to die because they're all going to die. And this is not some religious order where they're all going to die because Jesus, okay? They're all going to die because they're all going to die. That's the fact. It's the fact. Telescopes, numbers, slide rules, 0. Shit, we're all going to die. Okay. And they've known this for a long time. And they die. It's a big scene in the movie, how they die. And they die together. And the only person left in the world after everyone is dead is the moron. The moron. Now, okay, let's extrapolate this. So the moron comes out of the rubble, and maybe there's a female moron, and they reproduce, and all the morons come from the morons. And pretty soon the world is full of morons again. And they say, hey, we should name our species. Are they going to call themselves Homo moronicus? No, they're not. They're going to call themselves Homo amazingus, Homo giganticus, Homo conquericus. Okay, we're conquerors. We're gigantic. We're amazing. No, you're morons. You came out of the rubble, okay? And the data died with the smart people. You came out of the rubble, you reproduced, and then you named yourself, Homo amazingus? Really? Really? That's how we're going to do this? We are not wise. We're not amazing. We're not great. We're not gigantic. We're not infallible. Find the people who understand. Find the people who can help you unwind this because you can't figure it out yourself. Find the people who are willing, not me. No, I'm out. Find the other people who are willing to lead you through this hellscape, who are willing to show you how this actually works, how the world actually works, what's really happening to you. And understand right up front, it's not the weather. It's not climate change. No, it's not climate change either. Keep trying. It's global heating. It's physics. Physics is coming to kill you. Physics is the meteor. Do the math. Do the slide rule. Eat the shitty pizza. You finally get to the number. The oh shit moment. Physics. Reality is going to kill you. And that's what makes me a doomer. You're doomed. You're doomed because of physics. You're not doomed because I said so. You're not doomed because Jesus said so. You're not doomed because Muhammad wrote about it in the Quran. You're doomed because you're doomed, okay, fucker? You're doomed because of math. You're doomed because of physics. And you can legislate the math away, and you can legislate the physics away, and you can pass the rules, and you can do this and do that, and you can propagate all your ideas and all your opinions, and you're still going to be doomed. You'll be just as doomed on day 50 as you were on day 1. Because you won't do the thing. And the thing you have to do, the thing that no one's telling you to do, only me, because I'm the scientist and I did the math and I got the number and I'm going, oh shit, and I'm telling you now what you need to do. You need to stop burning fossil fuels. Straight up. Oh, but then how will I get to Starbucks to get my latte? You'll walk. And then someone else who's a little smarter will say, how does Starbucks get coffee beans from Ecuador without fossil fuels? You're figuring it out, aren't you? Yeah. You're getting close. You're getting warm. Yeah, well, how will there even be a Starbucks? How will you even build a Starbucks? How will the employees get there? And how will corporate America even do business without fossil fuels? Yep. Well, did you think about all that, Mr. Scientist? Yeah, I did. I was thinking about that before anybody. I've said on these YouTube videos, everything you do, everything you see. Do I have to do this? Everything you eat, everything you drink, every thought you've ever had, every thought your parents ever had, every thought your grandparents ever had, everything they ever saw, your parents, your grandparents, and you, and your children, everything you've ever known, everything that kept you alive, everything you ever said to anybody that you ever met was all enabled, made possible by 24/7 consumption of fossil fuels. And you'll say, that can't be true. Yes, that is true. But you can't do that anymore. Not because I said so. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. You can't do that anymore. That's a fact. That's just a bloody fact. Wow, that's really scary. Yeah, it is. Be afraid. Well, then we can't have globalized, industrialized civilization. That's right. You can't. Then we can't have 8,000 million people on Earth. Maybe. I mean, why would you say that? Well, because aren't they all eating food that comes from modern agriculture? And aren't they all drinking water that comes from modern filtration plants? And aren't they all driving 40 miles a day both ways to get to work to get money to provide themselves with food, clothing, and shelter? Oh, isn't that all that made possible with fossil fuels? That's true, it is. 8,000 million people on Earth. I mean, my God, how do people live without fossil fuels? Oh, I guess they live like they used to live. Used to live like what, in the 1950s? No, a little further back than that. Oh, it's like maybe what, 1850s? No, further back than the 1850s. Well, how did people used to live without fossil fuels? Well, you got to go back a ways. You got to go back a ways. And, and the world was really clean, and there was a lot of abundance, and there was lots of animals in the forests, and the climate was reasonable, and we had to go back a ways, like maybe medieval times or something like that. Maybe the high Middle Ages, back a ways. So you mean like plowing? You mean like shearing sheep by hand and plowing with a plow with an ox? Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Well, what was the population of the earth when we were plowing fields with oxen? Oh, well, I don't know, maybe 500 million people, maybe less, maybe 300 million people, oxen. Those kinds of somewhat modern agriculture. I mean, it's not hunter-gathering, right? How many people were alive on the earth when we were hunter-gatherers? I don't know, 20 million? Probably. So, we came a long way when we had the plow and oxen, and we were maybe 300 million people on earth, eating well, doing pretty well. So, yeah. So that's what we get without fossil fuels. Yeah, oxen, plows, and 300 million people. Yeah, about that. Maybe a little less. Maybe 80 million, like 1% of the current population without fossil fuels. Yeah, well, then we can't do that. Well, you could still abandon fossil fuels. Yeah, but we can't. Why? Because, 7,999,000 million people are going to die. Because we can't support 8,000 million people. We only support 80 million people. Yeah, that's true. But you could still give up on fossil fuels, but all those people will die. Yeah, that's true. Well, don't you care? Well, I care in the abstract, but it doesn't matter. You have to give up on fossil fuels. Leave them in the ground. You can't burn them. You can't pull them out of the ground for any purpose. You can't even pull them out of the ground to look at them. Leave them in the ground. So 8,000 million people or so, almost, are going to die. Yeah, probably. Then they'll probably die horribly. They're not going to understand, because most of those people aren't even part of the problem. They're just not going to understand. And the people who are part of the problem probably will do relatively fine. And that's not fair. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You still have to stop burning fossil fuels. Well, can't we save those people? No. Not if you're going to burn fossil fuels. You have to stop doing that. But that's cruel. Whatever. It has nothing to do with cruelty or fairness. It has what you have to do. Facts. You have to stop burning fossil fuels. But the unborn children and the little kids in school, and they won't get their education, and their parents will cry, and they'll all starve to death. Yeah, that's right. I don't want to say so what, but you have to stop burning fossil fuels. And if you elect me president, or you make me Secretary General of the UN or whatever, I'm going to tell you, you have to stop burning fossil fuels. You got problems with that? Well, then you got problems. You have to stop burning fossil fuels. That's a fact. The meteor is coming. Now in the movie, Don't Look Up, the meteor coming actually can't be changed. So there's nothing they can do. But and I'll say this, it could be wrong. I'm admitting right up front, I could be wrong when I say this. You must stop burning fossil fuels so as not to continue heating the earth. I just said that. And the heating of the earth is because of enhancements to the greenhouse effect, which is caused by excess releases of CO2 in the atmosphere caused by the consumption of fossil fuels that we're digging out of the ground. So leave them in the ground and you don't have these problems, except actually you might. There are these things called tipping points, the aggravating feedbacks that may continue to heat the world beyond us stop burning fossil fuels. Who knows? It can continue to heat for other reasons besides our fossil fuel consumption for hundreds of years, and maybe even thousands of years. But you have to stop burning fossil fuels anyway. So stop burning the fossil fuels and take your hit. I mean, maybe you stop burning fossil fuels and you stop heating the planet as a result. Or on the other hand, maybe you stop burning fossil fuels and the planet continues to heat anyway. But the point is, the more important point is, that's your only option. You just have to stop burning fossil fuels. That's it. That's all you got. And take your hit. And hope, pray to the orange Jesus. Pray that it works. Pray that it works. You're going to stop burning fossil fuels and you're going to hope that it works. I'll pray to my non-existent sky daddy. Please make it enough. I stopped burning fossil fuels. I'm a good human. I did the right thing. I don't know how I did it. It wasn't through politics. It was some other reason, but I did it. And now I stopped burning fossil fuels. And please, sky daddy, let the planet stop heating. And oh, by the way, and maybe even start cooling the planet now, because people are saying that too. If we stop burning fossil fuels today, the planet will start cooling tomorrow. Can't make this up. That's all you got. Now, Simon Clark doesn't think so. And there's a lot of scientists who don't want to talk about this in terms other than legislation. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be really terrified of what happens when we stop burning fossil fuels. It is appropriate to be absolutely terrified of what happens when we stop burning fossil fuels. It's a terrible thing. It's going to be humiliating. It's going to be damaging. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be lethal. It's going to be genocidal. It's going to be all those things if we stop burning fossil fuels. But we have to do it anyway. Leave it in the ground. Okay? That's what we have to do. And you can be afraid of that. But you can't let fear govern you. I'm here. I'm afraid. I don't know what's going to happen when we stop burning fossil fuels. To me personally, I know what's going to happen. But I don't know what's going to happen to me personally. Am I in the right place? Am I going to survive? Do I get lucky? Do I have the right types of leadership? Are they going to help us pull through without fossil fuels? Will they? Can they? I don't know. They're a bunch of chimps as far as I'm concerned. So maybe they won't. Maybe we'll get better leadership. Maybe we'll abandon fossil fuels and with the same stroke, we'll get better leadership. Maybe we'll put the scientists and the engineers and the physicists in charge of the show. That's a possibility. Maybe that's how we lose fossil fuels in the first place. We put these people in charge. Scientists, engineers, physicists, put them in charge, and they all vote day one. Oh yeah, okay, we got to stop burning fossil fuels. Well, there's this other scientist who says, but that's going to mean the deaths of something close to 8,000 million people. Yeah, that's true. Problem? Is it a problem? Well, it's bad. Okay, but is it a problem? Can we solve it? Well, no, we can't really solve it. It's too many people. Do we have to? Okay, but is it an extinction event? We're going to lose all those people if we stop burning fossil fuels. Well, maybe. Okay, but maybe it's good. We can work with that. How about we don't lose all the humans if we stop burning fossil fuels? How about we come up with a non-extinction scenario? Well, we'll have to plan for that. Okay, so let's plan for how not to have a full extinction event. Let's talk about that now. we've agreed we have to stop burning fossil fuels now. Let's have another discussion, the adult discussion about how not to lose all humans and all life on Earth due to global heating and all the harms that come from not burning fossil fuels, because there will be harms, and we know that. We accept that. That part is also inevitable. But, maybe it's not inevitable that we go extinct. So let's look at things we can do. Hey, we could even pass some laws and legislation that help people to survive. I don't know. I can't tell you what those are. Maybe those are something. Maybe it's a thing. I don't know. But you need the right leadership to have the right decisions about what to do when we stop burning fossil fuels. You need people in place who can say, okay, we did that. That's the thing. We just did that. Okay. Deep breath. Now, on to the next set of problems. How do we survive this without fossil fuels? How do we bring forward the internet? How do we bring forward food supply? How do we bring forward food, clothing, and shelter? How do we bring forward as many people as possible? How did they get people on the lifeboats after the Titanic hit the iceberg? Is that an example we could follow? They did that, right? They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to put people in lifeboats on the Titanic. They could have just let everyone go down with the ship, but they didn't. They got people into lifeboats. So is that an example for us? Can we do that? Can we learn anything from that experience? How do we get people in the lifeboats? What constitutes a lifeboat when the global industrialized civilization is sinking? What constitutes a lifeboat? Oh, well, how about small towns and villages that are completely, and hamlets that are completely self-sufficient, where the people know each other and they all live in the same place. There's no cars, there's no reliance on fossil fuels. They have solar power, they have battery banks, they have wind power, they have farms around them, and they know how to plow the farms. They have domesticated animals, or maybe they have machines, electric machines. Possibly you could still have electricity, right? You've got solar power, you've got wind power. You can have electric machines that can pull the plow for you. It doesn't have to all be going back to the Stone Age. Some of it could be, hey, we're going to leverage our technology. We're going to leverage everything we know. We're going to leverage our money that we have, and we're going to innovate, and we're going to make it so these hamlets and villages can leverage technology. They can go forward as technological creatures, true Homo sapiens, right? True wise people. And they're going to go forward with everything they need. And we, as leaders of the free world, are going to legislate ways that these people can survive in smaller units, more resilient, more self-sufficient. And we're going to make sure that we bring as much technology forward as we can. We're going to spend money to keep the internet working. We're going to spend money to keep cell phones working. Why? Because people need to talk to each other. They need to be able to communicate with their leadership and so on. We're going to spend money to create agricultural areas where there are just urban areas now. We're going to spend money to install as much solar power and as much wind power as we possibly can. Oh, and we're going to spend money to make that sustainable. We're going to be able to create locally the equipment you need to have solar power and wind power. These are all just laws you could pass. You could spend money on these things. You could build factories to make solar panels using solar panels for electricity to make solar panels. You could do that. You could create that. Are you going to create that? Probably not, because that's a technical discussion. And it doesn't have the feel-good thing about floating all the boats and LGBTQ plus and all these kind of voices. And it's just a technical discussion about the technical problem of not going extinct. And no one wants to have that conversation because it doesn't check all the boxes. So we're not going to have that conversation. We're not going to check all the boxes. We're going to have arguments about which is more important, entertainment or truth, right? And then we're going to have the argument of what is truth and what is entertainment really, and let's analyze these things and talk about these things in abstraction and truth and what is real truth. And let's all go on Truth Social and ask Donald Trump, the orange Jesus, what is the truth? Donald, please help us. Tell us what the truth is. Truth Social. That must be about the truth, right? So we can have that conversation. Thank you, George. Shut up. Or we can listen to Simon Clark, earnest young man. We need more legislation. We need more solar panels. We need more alternative energy. We need more, solutions and fixing this and convincing people of that, and more education and less propaganda. Yeah, we're gonna talk our way through this. We're gonna talk ourselves into some sort of techno utopia, right? Sorry, Simon. No, you're not gonna do that. Okay, shut up. Look at the numbers. You have to stop burning fossil fuels. You have to stop now, right now. Stop doing it. Just stop. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about the truth. Don't talk about alternative energy. Stop burning fossil fuels. Do it now. Jump, bitch. Do it. Jump. Do it now. Right now. I want to see you do it. Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think that's going to happen? I don't think that's going to happen. Oh, well then, why are you on YouTube? Because I'm pissed. That's why I do this. Because I'm pissed. I got up this morning on the wrong side of the bed. No thanks to Simon Clark and George Sacralides, whatever his name is. Nice guys. We don't have a beef with these guys. We could probably sit down and have a beer and joke about all this bullshit. But right now, I don't need a beer. I need a cup of coffee.